podcast. And today I'm Lisa, Tina's here, Tony's here. We're back with Anthony Andrews on Twitter, and we are recapping the events of the week. Mostly national, international stuff. We've kind of put the Missouri stuff on the back burner for the minute, but there is a lot going on, so we're going to recap that soon. But yeah, we're here to talk it all over. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning.
What's been going on in your week?
Well, Andrew got arrested. I'm going to start with the positive here.
Okay.
I'm glad another country is doing something. I know other countries have started some lawsuits and court stuff since the Epstein files came out in the United States, but they did arrest Andrew on his birthday. What a gift. What a gift.
One thing I do want to point out with his arrest is his arrest technically didn't have to do with
correct
Epstein.
Yeah.
And this goes to show, as with many other things we've talked about in the past, they may take actions, which are good actions, but they may not actually be directly related to what we would assume they are. I think Charles McGonigal is another example of that. With Andrew, it has to do with him acting as an official or something in an official capacity and not doing what he was supposed to do, which is basically stop Ghislaine from torturing a 6 to 8 year old with electricity.
Oh my God.
It's insane that we're even talking this as if it's a normal thing that we should be having a conversation about. It should be something we're talking about. When is the guillotine coming out? Because this is how we handle pedophiles and people that treat
I keep seeing all of these TikTok videos, and they're literally like, give millennial moms the list, immunity, and a club playlist, and let us go, and we will take care of this fucking problem. And I was just like, hell yes. Yeah, that literally, if all the men that said that they wanted to protect the children are not interested, then just give me immunity. Let me go. I got this. I'll do, okay. So we know with these sexual type of lawsuits and such, but most of the time, nothing tangible comes out of it, which I could go on and on about that forever, but you know how I feel. But we have always said on this channel, following the money is what is going to usually get us to where we need to go, because you can't argue numbers on a paper, even though they will. But but he truly believed, and I could tell by the look in his eyes when he got arrested, that he thought he was untouchable. And if this is what needs to get you to realize you're not untouchable, I'll take it. Whatever. The look of fear in your eyes was all I needed for my morning. But I digress.
I saw something this morning I thought was interesting. They had a nickname for him, the security at the castle. And, on the interview that this guy was doing, he's like, I'm not sure if I can say it, but their nickname for him among their group of security, like Secret Service or something, was they just called him the cunt. Because
I thought you were going to say Randy Andy, and I'm like, that ain't even that bad. Come on.
Or something.
They called him the cunt because they said he was just a privileged asshole, and he treated everybody like shit, like he was above everything and everyone, and nobody could touch him. So I'm glad that fucker is about shitting his pants, because
that's what happens when children or people are raised like that with money that has no consequence.
It's all about no consequences. These people have never been held accountable for anything in their entire lives.
Well, and we see it with celebrities now, too. I mean, look at all the damn Kardashians, and everything that they may cause controversy here. But, they're not doing all the things on the up and up, and they're pieces of shit anyway. And
absolutely.
That's the example that they're given to our children and young adults, is that this is okay to act. And it's not. This is all a reality, and none of this is reality. I've been in the backgrounds of some reality type shows, whether it be game shows and stuff. I did Candid Camera years ago, and everything is staged.
Absolutely.
It's all staged. I don't care what you're watching.
Well, let's face it. The show The Apprentice is what got us in this mess, because they spun this weirdo to be like an intelligent, charismatic, guy that everybody could get behind.
Phil Donahue, Oprah. Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Nicole, Anna Nicole, because they.
Oh, that bitch. No, I'm kidding. No, so why was I listening to a Nelly song the other day, and there is a lyric in there that I'm singing that I have sang 1,000 times, and he literally says, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, let me in now. That is the lyrics of the fucking song, and I'm like, did these fuckers ruin everything? I'm so mad. Like,
I get
sad they ruined Nelly.
How long have they been telling us?
Money.
Oh, well, that comes after, but I don't want to know how he got the money at this point now if you're talking about Bill Gates and Donald Trump. But yes, so essentially we have been these companies that are run by Les Wexner that is deeply entrenched with Jeffrey Epstein. He was the one who gave him his money in the beginning. And that is literally what my childhood, that's what I was raised and groomed on, guys.
Right.
The Limited, Victoria's Secret, fucking Justice. What was it? Limited 2?
Yeah.
That's a little girl store. And these are the men.
Yeah, didn't Jeffrey actually have full control over that? Limited 2?
Oh my God. That's so creepy.
Yeah.
Well, and can we pause for a second and talk about Les Wexner appearing this week in front of Congress?
Wexner is that not only it's obvious there's so many connections, whether it be Ohio State, the stuff that's going on there. He has to testify next week. He was forced to testify in a court case regarding the victims there. He pretends like he didn't know nothing about nothing. He's an idiot. We know that he's an idiot to think we're that naive. But I think the one thing to point out is especially his actions or statements towards Maria Farmer. And he specifically said he doesn't remember have anything to do with her. She had a driver's license with his address on it.
Absolutely.
As her home address on her license. So that should basically nix any conversation about whether or not Wexner was involved in any of this.
I mean, is he just going to play the Alzheimer's card because he's like fucking 90? Like, I feel like that's what he's going to do.
He wouldn't shut up. Did you see the clip of his lawyer leaning in?
Well, I was surprised. So good. Well, no, and we'll talk about that. I was surprised that he was as coherent as he was. I mean, in his 90s, I was surprised. He seemed pretty on top of things in terms of just him talking and everything. I was like, good for you. You must be getting some of that good adrenochrome or whatever.
Yeah, that's all that jerky and adrenochrome. I know we can.
Let's be clear here. He literally divulged information that they didn't want him to divulge. His lawyer, leaned in and was caught on tape. Don't say more than 5 words, or I'm going to fucking kill you. His lawyer on tape told him.
And he smiled.
It sounds legal advice.
Yeah, he was like, "If you don't shut your fucking mouth," and. It was right. Did you realize what he said right before that? He dropped Rothschild's name.
Yeah, he brought the Rothschilds into the chat. Yeah.
And we know
he's gonna wake up dead. Or he's not gonna wake up dead. He's gonna be all of a sudden he fell out of a window soon. I have a vibe.
So and he's got to testify next week. So we'll see if it happens before then even. So we talked about this earlier, so I'll jump into it now. How do you keep up on everything that's coming out if you haven't been paying attention to the extent that people like us and other people that we know, or if you're active on Twitter/X, there's other platforms I'm not a huge user of, although I am on Blue Sky, I am on Substack, which is my backup in case I get nuked again. I am on Threads. I can see, I can see all the different biases on all those.
Right. They all have a different vibe, for sure.
They do.
Definitely, when you jump around, you can definitely see it. When I go to my Threads feed, there's definitely a right-wing bias. I continue to see things in my Threads feed that I'm like, really, why am I seeing that bullshit from these right-wingers? When you jump into Blue Sky, to me, Blue Sky just seems like a whole lot of nothing. If anything, it's just a lot of people, blah, blah, kumbaya, but not do anything about it,
Right.
People can hate me for this, but, I keep saying Twitter is still the front, and that's where
it really is.
I finally updated my app after all this time. From the little blue bird.
You still had the bird. Yeah.
I did until just recently because it finally just did not work anymore.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Now, when you did the update,
Yeah.
Let's see. I have my phone here. When Epstein, or not Epstein, when Musk, all the same people, whatever,
Mhm.
took over.
Muskstein, yes.
Yeah, Muskstein.
Yeah.
When he took over Twitter, remember, and they changed the logo to X. For those of
Mm-hmm.
you who did update right away and saw that logo, the logo was broken. Do you remember that? When you look at the
Yeah, it
logo,
looked a little funny.
it was intentionally like scratched up. It was,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, that's another example, and it's silly, but it's all these little indications of the psychological warfare that they're putting on us, that they're doing to us. These, I see it on Facebook too. The Facebook logo has been doing something weird to me too when I go into a couple things on Facebook. But anyway, I'm jumping way off into conspiracy thing. What we were talking about too is how do we verify? How do we help people catch up to where we are? Information. How do we help people understand? How do you verify information, especially when the DOJ is deleting hundreds of thousands of files in the middle of the night?
They're so dumb. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
we can't count on anything they're doing anymore. That ship has sailed.
Well, exactly. And what is their goal? Everything they're deleting, as far as I'm concerned, only puts a spotlight on it. We expect that somebody has this information out there. I know our Epstein Wiki group has all the files downloaded. We're still trying to manage a way to be able to access certain information in a more tenable way that people can get to it. And, you've looked at that site yourself, the EpsteinWiki.com, and see how it is useful. Definitely, I'd like feedback if you think there's other things we can do that. There's a couple other sites I see out there where people are actually doing this, and somebody mentioned yesterday that it's great that we've got actual people, real people pulling the stuff together.
Oh, absolutely. And you can tell that it's not AI slop.
Yeah.
And I can tell that another human is explaining it to me in a way that my human brain can understand. And I think that is so, that's what is going to be helpful for the people that are jumping in right now, because you guys, all the people, the volunteers that are working very hard on the Epstein Wiki, like, they're explaining to you where it came from, what it connects to, why it connects to that. And it's more of the word explanation instead. I've seen a lot of web, photo type connection apps, which everybody's brain works differently. I can look at a web and be like, oh yeah, it's all connected, but why? And that is exactly what the Epstein Wiki website does. And that's amazing.
And I've seen, and I think you touched on something that's very important for people to understand is we all absorb information differently. You can look at all the different apps that are out there, TikTok, and, they grab people's attention in different ways. They're formatted differently. People engage differently on those apps. And, with this Epstein stuff, what I have found is, there's that Gmail version of the Epstein stuff.
Yes.
There's the also DOJ version. And then there's a couple other now new collaborated sites similar to our Epstein Wiki site. And what I found is when I'm looking up certain things, I'll do it on the DOJ website.
Right.
Use the DOJ website primarily to confirm anything that is questionable. So, like you were saying, Epstein Wiki, we always post the links, sometimes screenshots, and some context to it so that people can...
Oh, you're good. Keep going.
I actually have a question about that, because I've seen, how you can see the file number on... somebody will post something, they'll include the file number. Well, I've gone to DOJ and searched the file number, and it doesn't give you the actual document titled that file number. It gives you if there's another file that references that document. So can you guys tell people how to accurately search this or efficiently?
So a couple ways that I do it. I think you both heard my test last week where I was talking about how do you search things on my video that I sent, audio that I sent to you.
Yes.
It was late in the day, we'll say. And, but basically what I do is I'll take an EFTA number if they have it available, and I'll grab it and I'll just toss it into the DOJ website just to see what comes up. And then if it comes up, I'll look at the wording and see if it verifies. But what I found the easiest way to verify something, let's say somebody has a screenshot of something, and it's got, it's an email that says, hi, sweet pea, looking forward to come seeing you in Florida in 2002. Love, Melania.
Oh.
Look it up if you want. It's there.
Yeah.
And so I'll copy that, I'll screenshot things, then I'll copy that portion of the verbiage, that specific, exactly how it's laid out in the file. And then I'll take that copied version of the text and I'll drop that into the DOJ website.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then that will bring up any EFTA that has that verbiage in it.
My challenge has been, like, people will refer to a file and maybe just, not have anything specifically from it, but a synopsis, and I want to see it, the original document myself. But like I say, if you put the number in, you would think that it would go to that specific file, but it doesn't work that way.
It goes to the whole data set, right?
It goes to, like, if there was an additional document that referenced that, and so that particular
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
If you look at some of the files they have, if you're actually reading through some of these, you'll see various EFTAs listed throughout these emails and stuff. So what you're talking about is anything that EFTA is referenced in will pop up on the list. Correct. But not specifically what you're looking for right away.
Exactly. So, and I haven't figured out how to find it.
You have to weed through it.
And there's too many to try to sort through, and there's no good way to even index that. Like I've had some that I would have been willing to dig through until I found it if I could get close enough. But my God, there's a million of them, so that's not even
And I think
possible.
If you can do a word search, like I was saying, just a portion of, if they post something that at least has a quote, take that quote, throw it in to the search. Now, on the Gmail files, which is, essentially like an email setup, you can still do that. You can throw the EFTA in there. You can throw a quote in there. The problem with the Gmail files is that let's say you've got Melania Trump that you want to search.
Right.
If you search in the DOJ files, you put Melania Trump, Melania space Trump, it'll only show you any file that has those two words exactly like that in them.
Right.
So if it's a file that just says Melania or a file that says just Trump, it's not going to come up because it doesn't say Melania Trump. But if you just put Melania in, everything that's got Melania in will come up. Or if you just put Trump in, everything that's got Trump will come up. Now, if you go to the Gmail files and you put Melania Trump, everything that's got both of those names in it, whether it be singular or together, will come up. But at least at the very top of the list, it'll show anything that has those two words together.
The two names together.
Files, but at least at the beginning would show where those two things are together. So it's not ideal. I try a number of different ways. Obviously, EFTA is ideal to have. Next is like a unique quote, like I was saying, because then you can drop those into each one and see what comes up. You kind of have to tinker with it some. What I've done is if somebody drops a file, but it doesn't have the EFTA or the link to it, I'll grab a couple different separate quotes to confirm and to try to find it. So when I can find it that has both of that in it, then I can confirm it and share the actual link. Does that make sense, or is it helpful?
For sure. I'll tell you, when I was trying to find that lampshade, it was very hard to find any of that. And I had to go to several different social medias to find a picture of it, to find the EFTA number in the corner, to be able to go back and find the actual photo that was from the files. So I had to go to I searched on Reddit. I was on TikTok. I finally found a TikTok video that had the picture with the EFTA in the bottom. And we don't have time to do all that.
No, I don't have time for,
But that's exactly it. Is you have to go to various social medias too, or even just Google, with the files that are missing as an example. Let's say the one that was 800 something pages that they deleted the other day, and I posted yesterday after I was able to acquire it, and it was all the witness testimony of Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, why would they delete any of that for everybody to see? Especially when I read through it and it talks about doing certain things to children and all this other stuff, and it's got names on it. So it's obviously it's a cover up. They're hiding things, but with that particular file, what I would do sometimes if I'm looking for a file that would maybe disappeared is I'll take a quote out of the whatever I can find from the file, and I'll throw it into just a web search. And what's going to happen, it'll show, there's a couple different websites that actually, as soon as a document is filed in court, that website will transcribe it into their website.
Right.
If it's deleted by the DOJ, it's on their website still. So that's how I was able to find some of the things. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of go about this. I think the thing is simplifying it in a way that people know that we're the ones that are doing that.
Right.
We confirm all of that with you. Just absorb the information as it is. Don't get distracted by all the gaslighting that's happening, and let's put it all together to move forward to come up with the problem we're at right now is we're stalled at a point that everybody's searching 3 million files and realizing what 3 million files entails, and we're still finding a lot of stuff after 2 weeks. But the problem is we're so caught up in all of that. What the hell are they doing while we're focused on this?
Yeah. Should we talk? Oh, well, I did want to say for anybody listening, if you have any ideas of ways that help you to get this information out, or ways that your brain would maybe absorb some information better, like we would love comments or, questions or any ideas from you guys, because that's why we try to, make these videos, is to make things easier. And it seems as we go along and learn about all of these companies that literally overlord our lives, and maybe things we were taught weren't true, or trustworthy sources aren't as trustworthy because they're owned by certain people, or, and so it really does. And I know we're so busy, but we do have to go and double check these things. And there are people that you can trust that are doing it with a good natured heart, that are literally paying to do it. Like we ain't making no money. So I don't got any reason to lie to you. Okay.
Well, and I think that's key. I mean, one of my things I pride myself on is not monetizing any of this. And I think, the groups that I'm working with, a lot of people are putting their time, their effort, even their money.
A lot of time.
Yeah. A lot of time, a lot of effort, your money into this. And, those to me are the most legitimate sources of all, because we have no malintent. We're literally just trying to do what's best for the people, to help people understand where we're at and get information.
It's literally my empathic heart. That is the only part of this. Like, seriously, like the pain that I'm feeling from the pain that you guys are causing is, so it is about me. Okay, it is about me.
We're lucky enough to have the resources, time, and, a few bucks here and there for websites and platforms and whatnot. But, it's hard to draw the line between someone who needs to monetize in order to pay their bills while they do all this, support themselves, and a grifter. So
there's grifters that do good things.
He's a wonderful grifter.
It's their job. Their job is grifting, but
they're not necessarily focused on doing the right thing at the right time always.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, once you get to a certain point, like we've talked about this multiple times, but once you get to a certain amount of money, I'm not sure exactly what that number is, but someone owns you, okay? Whoever's giving you the money owns you and controls you. So, I mean, I'm seeing a pattern here. I don't know if that's my autism or what the hell that is, but like once you get money, a certain amount, you start doing weird shit and you start doing stuff to get more money. So, but I digress. What should we talk about next?
Well,
do we want to do some Russia? Do we want to do...
I think the other thing that, we are learning is that Israel has had a extreme heavy influence on our politics for decades. More so now, literally today, than any other time in our history. I think in our history, we've been influenced a lot more than people realize, and I think we'll continue to learn more and more about that by the influence of Israel. I don't want to get into conspiracy or anything like that, but what we can discuss is there's becoming a clear connection, and I don't know if connection's the right word, coordination, cooperation, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, between Russia and Israel. A lot of what's coming out is this very deep tie between the Israel nefarious people, and
The Zionists,
it's the
essentially, is what I
Zionists,
would call. Yeah.
the Bibi Netanyahus of the world, tied directly to Russia, to Putin, and basically working hand in hand to affect everything we're dealing with now. I mean, my personal opinion is that Trump is actually in control or controlled by Bibi, Putin, and MBS equally now. I think
Yeah.
some of the things
Yes.
I've kind of come across seems to be that there's been a little bit of this transition of power among who controls him based off of financing and some of this stuff. A lot of what I'm seeing comes down to, and this is where you're talking about, Lisa, follow the money, is comes down to this money laundering operation. And when you look at something like Ryblev having sold the Da Vinci, what's his name, the Da Vinci photo for $450 million when he bought it for like $125 million. I mean, a lot of that is showing that there's this laundering operation. It's as if he bought the debt off of the Russian that was owed by, that was controlling Trump, was my opinion when I read more details about this. You'd have to see the details I saw, but essentially the timing and everything that was going on when MBS bought this painting, it seems like they were transferring this resource of money laundering debt to...
They were transferring those other 3 million files.
Yeah,
What year was this? When did this happen?
I think the purchase of the painting. Let me just look it up real quick. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
And while you're looking that up, we know that in general terms, like fine art, real estate, and what is it, horses, are all easy ways, common ways to launder money.
That was 2017.
Okay.
It was right at the crux of everything that was going on when he bought that. And we know that that's the same oligarch that bought the mansion in Florida.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize that mansion was originally owned by Les Wexner. That property.
Was it really?
But the property was originally owned by Les Wexner. So Les Wexner, he sold it to a guy who developed that Maison de whatever is on there.
Yeah.
That was on there. And then when it was, so it was fairly, this is late 80s, 90s, when this had occurred. No, this was 2008, 2004 to 2008 when all this happened. Fairly new property. And then they went and leveled it and split it into 3 different plots.
I see.
What were they trying to hide? I don't know.
Well, I don't even think they were trying to hide anything.
You don't?
That property as much as they were just finding ways to launder more money,
Right.
I mean, it's well known that Russians are a large amount of owners of Trump condos and properties.
Sure.
I mean, we don't need to beat a dead horse, but this horse continues to need a kicking and a beating.
Well, okay, so and I feel like the Israel, even though it is totally a problem that we're dealing with right now, captured our government or whatever. But the Russia, I feel like the Israel push right now to, demonize them. I think it to me, it feels like they are trying to get attention off of Russia. But I'm not saying that Israel didn't do anything, but I'm just saying that I feel like it's all tied together.
I hate to use what they call as a hoax as my Bible, but, the Steele dossier is pretty detailed, and there's a lot of stuff that isn't as evident when you first look through it. But it's very clear that, what had happened during the election and leading up to the election in 2016, the Russians were actually happy that the focus was on Russia and their ties to Trump, because they didn't want it deflected, and it literally says this in the dossier, it deflected attention away from all of his bribery and scandals and deals he was making with what was called the emerging third world countries, which was the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and China. He had all these deals going on with them, but while we were focused on the Steele dossier leading up to the election in 2016, and we weren't even focused on that yet, but while we were focused on the connections to Russia, Russia was actually happy with that And the Trump campaign was happy with that because it took everybody's attention off of all his dealings with China and his dealings with other third world countries like Saudi Arabia.
Like many things, it's not either or, it's yes and.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think he would just take money from anybody who would fucking give him any money.
I agree.
Like that's why all of these people, that's why every single of these countries are like, oh yeah, we got blackmail on you and you owe us money. Okay. Ehud Barak, where is he from? What is his whole backstory? Does anybody know? Because I feel like he has quite a few Russian ties as well. Does anybody have any details?
I haven't looked into Ehud a lot. I had downloaded when they had released the specific emails related to him. I had attempted to download it, but it was an extremely large file. I think I finally eventually got it, but I never actually went through it. But he was the former prime minister of Israel.
Right.
And he was very, very connected to Epstein in a way that they were working closely for in influencing these world affairs and connecting Epstein with a lot of these other high profile people, and even setting things up in a way using Epstein's network to set people up in blackmail situations. That's the gist of what I understand. Where Ehud Barak was, connected to all of this, but I know there's a much deeper dive into his stuff. I've seen.
I think that is going to be a very big tie there, and I think we should look into that. And there's just so many Epstein emails in there talking about him saying Putin asked me to be in St. Petersburg, and and Epstein was sending it to Ehud Barak, and then after that email, that was a 2013 email, and then Putin met with Ehud Barak. So I am just feeling like they're all together.
I'll look into it a little more. I think the other thing that a lot of people are having a hard time kind of doing is looking at specific time frames of these events. I've seen some of it happening, but you look at something that these emails occurred on in May of 2017, and they're talking.
What else was going on in the world? That's what we need to.
2017. That's when he fired Comey. That's when he had the Russians in the Oval Office and gave them intelligence on who? Oh, Israel.
Right.
And remember, I was just thinking about this yesterday. Remember when he was in Mar-a-Lago showing people war plans?
Yes.
And it's listed in the felony indictment. It's listed about him. Talks about him.
Wait, that was at New Jersey, I think.
Yeah.
Was that at Bedminster, I think?
I think it was Bedminster, yeah.
Okay.
And where he was showing these war planes. Well, you know where those war planes were for, right?
Where was it for? I can't remember.
I'll give you one guess on us attacking one country.
Iran?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I remember that now.
It's all as if everything comes back full circle. I mean, it's all right there in front of us. But the dates is what I was talking about specifically is, when we look at Ehud Barak's emails, I know a lot of it was right around 2014. That's one thing that keeps popping out to me. And a lot of things were going on in 2014. Prior to that, 2013, at the end of the 2013, Trump was doing Miss Universe in Moscow. That's where he was at the Crocus Hall.
Right.
Yeah.
I've written about that. Then fast forward to early 2014, 3 weeks before Putin invaded Crimea, Ivanka was in Moscow with Wendy Deng. 3 weeks before that invasion, and it's likely she collected $30 million from Eamon Algarov. I've used their own social media to confirm their proximity within each other during the time frame, and all these other things that were going on in 2014. I'm not sure the time frame of General Flynn. I think he may have been fired prior to this, or was this right around the time Flynn was fired? So there's a whole lot that happened in 2014 that I think if we dig into some of these emails and look at Ehud Barak and what he was doing with Epstein during 2014 and a lot of this, it will start to connect dots that we're not seeing yet.
Yes. Well, yes. Isn't it crazy that these random people are just pulling all the strings and we are just left in the background?
Something Silvio Berlusconi this weekend came up in some of these emails. Berlusconi having to do with a couple weird, odd things here and there. And, I've written about this where Paolo Zampoli at 18, his father died in 1988, 87, 88. His father, Zampoli, inherited his father's very successful toy company
Yeah.
in Italy. And he literally just posted something a few days ago that I reposted, which was a picture of a Star Wars character in its original packaging with its Italian wording on it from his dad's company. I mean, it's probably worth a lot of money now, but his dad had the sole rights to Star Wars in Italy, and
wow.
John Casablancas, who owns Elite Models, who at 14 Trump sent Ivanka to model for him, and we've all seen those pictures. 14 was about 1995 or 6, I think. And John Casablancas was the one that in the late 80s talked Paolo Zampoli into selling his dad's toy company so he could create his own modeling. ID Models. ID Models is where Melania came from in Europe, because Zampoli, and what I've seen is Zampoli was the passport guy in all of this. He was the guy handling all the passports for these Eastern European.
Right.
They moved away from European models and even American. They were focused primarily on Eastern European. I've read a lot about this because it shows that they were much easier to manage and get to be compliant because they were coming from the Soviet bloc countries and they were just trying to escape. It was easy to get these young women. It was easy to buy.
They're so poor, poor.
Young women, young girls from families at the time, it's a fact that Epstein did buy a young girl at 15 who became one of his assistants. But Silvio Berlusconi is the one who bought Zampoli's father's toy company.
Okay.
And Berlusconi also has ties to sexual misconduct charges with young children.
And then he owns a toy. What kind of toy company did he make it into? Nasty. Okay, sorry.
Well, there's just so many ties that continue to go around. It's all these people that are front and center. I will continue to say that Zampoli is truly a smoking gun that everybody, if you don't know Zampoli, you don't know shit. Felix Sater, if you don't know Felix Sater, you don't know shit. And if you don't know Artem Klushin, you don't know shit. Most people don't know Artem Klushin because he's a Russian spy. But literally those three people, if you just pay attention to those three people, and I'll say again, the shit that I've written about them.
Yes.
You don't need to.
Tony does it for you. Tony does it for you.
Yep. Tony's out there doing the work.
The matter of getting information in front of people that's credible, verifiable, and helping them figure out what we can do to fix this.
That's the key, in my opinion, is what can we do to fix this? It's hard.
Well,
we're just three people in the world, but things can be done.
It is hard, and it just feels like they are delivering the information in a way to make it the most toxic for your brain so you can't do anything. But we're at that crossroads of the system, again, is doing exactly what it was built to do, which is protect the people that run the system. So as soon as people realize we have to go outside of the system to fix this, and I'm not saying, do the things, but until the system is fixed, whatever players we put in there are just going to rot in the same way. So until we change the rules of the game and have actual outcomes that are, justice,
meaningful.
Then this isn't going to, and everything dies in the darkness. So as much as this hurts to bring it up, we can't do anything about it until we learn. And this is all a process. The grieving process is very long. Can be it fucking sucks. And that is literally what you're going through as you read this, because every single person can identify with a child. We have all been a child before. Okay. So, as adults, we can, some people can put themselves in people's shoes. Everybody can put themselves in the shoes of a child because you were one. So that is why it is so painful. But the people are wanting the information now because it's seeping into the normies. It's seeping in to their algorithms, even though the big media companies are trying to keep it out. They're not talking about it, but they keep getting little something in their algorithm, and them realizing that they are actively having information withheld is what is making them go and look. And why don't, Tony, speaking of information they keep deleting, why don't you talk about that data set, that how many pages they deleted the other day in the middle of the night?
They've deleted a couple things, but real quick before I move on is, when Hitler had power in and we were in World War III or II. Sorry. Not very
Wow, that was
feel
a
like-
Freudian slip.
Yeah, we're not in
Jesus
World
Christ.
War III. I don't know.
And we were
Where we're
in
at.
World War II, and Hitler was in power. The only thing that stopped him was the Allied forces. We don't have Allied forces that are going to stop Trump. It's not the same circumstances. The Allied forces are you, me, and everybody else in the United States that needs to change rules, find ways to communicate, and get people to stand up. I have a young girl that's coming because of my surgery. She comes and does a little light housework. They granted that for me, which is nice.
That's awesome.
She's only 19. It's one of her first jobs, but we talk about a couple things. And I asked her yesterday or a couple days ago before she left. I said, "Hey," I said, "just your perspective. You're young. She's she grew up in Davenport, Iowa. She's 19 years old. She's a white girl. She is lesbian, but she's like." I said, "Tell me what is the most pressing thing on your mind when it comes to all of this, just trying to understand all of this and what, how we can fix this." And she took a moment and she said, "Well, I don't understand why they're not impeaching him." Because that's what she understands. She understands that the system's to fix this, and I kind of explained to her because she's 19. We've been dealing with this for 10 years. So
Since she was 9.
It all began, and I said, we already had 2 impeachments that she may or may not have been generally aware of how many years ago when she was a young teenager. And I said, and the GOP has already failed us there, and they've continued to fail us going forward. Even if we gained the Senate and the House, I explained, we saw what happened on January 6th. It's clear that they're not going to transition the peaceful transition of power over to Democrats in the House or the Senate, because that means accountability will come. So what we need to plan for is that eventuality. And I said, and what she's like, well, how do we do that? I said, community. I said that, all history has shown us it starts with community, and some of it like this, it's our online community and the voices we have and what we share, but it's also you and your neighbors. I mean, I know it's not feasible, and we all have those. I have neighbors around me too that I'm like, questionable. But if you develop relationships, even if they're cordial relationships, if you're nodding at people as they're walking by, you're stopping and chatting for a little bit about things, and you're building those relationships in your community. And then when you have the chance, sharing information with them to help them understand what we can do. Ultimately, the communities that do that are going to be the ones that are most safe moving forward.
Correct.
Yep. So
and having those conversations and acknowledging your neighbors and just generally getting to know people makes people see you as a safe person, which is what you want to convey in these times. And pulling back, I think we have given all our power away to institutions. And that's a lesson we're learning now, because I think about all of the things that I wasn't taught to be self-sufficient, because it was just always done. And now we don't have those skills. So finding people that have skills that we might need going forward, Sorry, I just had to add that on.
You're absolutely right. One of my neighbors across the street, I wasn't sure where he stood on things. But, we got talking, and I told him I was getting this a year and a half ago. I told him I was getting ready to buy a firearm, and he ended up being the guy that showed me how to use it. I went to his kitchen, he pulled out 5 of his guns, and he's like, okay, this is how you open it up, this is how you clean it, this is how you do this, and that was amazing. I mean, again, community. He lives kitty corner to me across the street here and has a perfect view of my front yard. And I know if shit goes down, he's coming out guns a-blazing now.
Pop, pop. Yeah.
So your original question was about the deleting files. I'm sorry I ranted a little bit, but
squirrel.
The deleting files part. So we found, and somebody said it was up to 500,000 files deleted over the last 2 days. Okay, and that with 3 million files having been put out there, 500,000 is 17.6666% of these files have disappeared because somebody didn't want anybody to go through them. Fortunately, there's enough sleuths and enough volunteer organizations out there that most of this has been captured long before we did it. I followed up with Epstein Wiki yesterday, and I said, how prepared are we going forward to be able to capture information quick enough before it gets taken down. So
Right.
that's something we're working on, because even with these 3 million files, when you originally went to download them, I don't know if you guys tried to do that, it didn't work because
Right.
they did something to the system because they realized everybody was trying to download them. So
Right.
they're definitely fighting us being able to procure the information. So, but with these files, one of the first things that came up, somebody said, oh, they deleted this file. Somebody sent it to me, one of my information warriors who constantly sends me stuff that I glance at because they send me good stuff. And so I grabbed the file, the EFTA, looked it up in the DOJ website, confirmed that the information was missing. I went into my wiki group and my Signal chat and I said, hey, can somebody pull this up for me? They actually found it not within ours, but they actually found it on another resource that we use that they found from another organization. And that's where I was able to pull it up. And it was the 800 plus pages of depositions from Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein and a number of other very key people to all of this. And so 843 pages is a lot to go through. I don't ever just start at page 1 and go through. I literally scroll like this, and I'll just stop and I'll just look at what's on the page. I'll say, okay, do it again. And just find different nuggets of things. It's shocking how many nuggets you find when you look at stuff like that, just to get context for stuff. And you can look at specific people's, and obviously they'd already altered the files in a way that certain things are missing. Apparently, at some point, it ends when Prince Andrew was asked about whether or not Trump was president or something like that. But so, not only does the DOJ, they're incompetent because not only is removing these files going to put a larger spotlight on them and get people to say, well, what don't you want?
Why are you hiding this?
Exactly. But,
maybe the stuff I've been searching has already been deleted. Maybe that's why it didn't come up in the search.
That's happened to me.
Yeah, and it's true. Send it to me and I'll see what I can find if you want. And
if that happens again, I will definitely do that.
And another thing, so something else that somebody brought to my attention yesterday that was deleted was the 6-page original Katie Johnson complaint. Well, I had actually already saved that a long time ago as a video roll. I actually opened the complaint and I just recorded it. That way it's not a file. I just have the literal documents for everybody to read as a video. People complain that it scrolls too fast, all the usual bullshit on X.
Fucking pause it. Jesus.
Pause it, damn it. But so then I posted that because I'm like, oh, I heard this disappeared. And then I also posted the Jane Doe complaint, which is 9 pages. Now, those are both Katie Johnson. I want to clarify that. One she filed as Jane Doe, one she filed as Katie Johnson.
Katie Johnson, yes.
But as a reminder, Ed Opperman, who's my buddy, who has his podcast, he was the private detective that was hired by the plaintiffs back. Her lawyers, Katie Johnson's lawyers, hired Ed as their private detective leading into all of that. So he actually has some stuff that he can't share about all of it, but he has some inside information that he has shared about exactly how things went down, the threats that went down. They had gotten a DDoS attack, I believe, right the day after they filed back, a couple of weeks before the election. And that was one of the big things that terrified them, was getting this electronic attack. And then they had some threats to their life as well. So when you listen to these naysayers and they say, oh, it was dropped, she was lying, well, they're fucking stupid.
So you're telling me that there is extra information that the public does not know, but you having a relationship with Ed and Ed having a relationship with, a professional relationship with the people that made this court case is saying that he believes Katie Johnson.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I read it, and a 12-year-old girl is not, that is not made up. You can't make, I feel like people think we are that creative. Yeah. I am not going to creatively make up a rape story about myself. And then, what? I need people to think about that. When they say, oh, they're making this up. Yeah, I wrote 9 pages about an assault in the worst way possible that did not happen, and I made it up because I'm just creative and writing a creative story. What?
Yeah, about 2 men who have been credibly accused, one convicted, of doing exactly what she's says in that deposition that she did. And one of them has walked around talking about walking into Miss Teens while the girls are naked. And he talks about walking around grabbing women by the pussy.
Well, and you think, I feel like sometimes when you are looking at a circumstance like this, instead of looking at who it damages, you look who it benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Who would that benefit for this young woman? Absolutely, it wouldn't benefit her because now she's getting death threats.
And she didn't get any money. It's not like she's getting money. And I'm just gonna say from a female point of view, she obviously at the young age did not turn this, like, obviously. And we know that it takes years to work through the trauma to be able to do that. But also from a girl's point of view, your only goal in bringing that forward is to make sure that it doesn't happen to another 12-year-old girl because it wrecked your whole fucking life and psyche. And I just wish that, yes, I'm sure there have been people that have made false allegations about people. They are very rare. And also, like, I'm just saying, from a girl's point of view, you don't care what you get out of this. It already happened. It's over. But you want to protect the little girls, the babies coming after you. And so that is what I just need men to understand that.
Well, one thing I'd like to actually point out on top of what you're saying is the fact that everyone needs to understand that she wasn't only trying to protect other little girls in the future, talking about her instance, she was actually trying to protect the nation.
The United States of America.
It's America.
This is what this man will do to a whole nation.
Exactly. And he's done it. He has raped and pillaged our nation and continues.
For sure. And
everybody's, not everybody, but this cult of personality that's behind him wants to create a whole different history. This is, the most insane thing about all of this to me is, before 2015, when he made this announcement, there was so much everybody knew about Trump long before that. And, their machine knew that. So they just went full force gaslighting the hell out of everybody and making him this candidate that seemed appealing to this.
The worst of everybody in the United States.
This group, yes, the worst of the worst in the United States. And it's sad. We were talking about the files, missing files, the threats. There was something else I wanted to bring up with the missing files. Damn it, I don't know.
You'll think about it as soon as we get off the call.
The other thing we have to consider when you're actually absorbing information is, we already discussed there are, it's a rare occasion that people that have been abused or that have not been abused are going to make up a story that they had been abused, especially such a sensational story that involves very high profile people. It's not completely out of the question. We've seen it in the past where this has happened and people do because for whatever way they're trying to benefit themselves. One thing I am seeing, and just throwing it out there, is, a lot of the stuff with Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson being exonerated a lot. A lot of these people are like, look, Michael Jackson didn't do anything, and this was all just a witch hunt after him. And, even Hogan said the other day, and I'm glad. Because, of course, Michael, I think, got a bad rep. He's an unusual person. He lived an unusual lifestyle. But I never once believed, honestly, that he was in a mindset to be able to hurt children.
I think my theory about him is he was hurt as a child and was creating a safe place for other children because he knows how Hollywood is.
Exactly. I agree 100%. But instead it was spun and they demonized him in a way that, it became what it is. But anyway, I digress from that. The other thing is there are people that have been abused that people will take advantage of. And I think we see this much more often than we'd like to realize.
Absolutely.
I think in this case, it's no different. I think there's people that have been abused legitimately, that have been abused within the circle legitimately. I think there's also people that haven't necessarily been abused within the circle, but they've also manipulated their own story to place them into the circle so that they can be part of that spotlight. I think the one thing to, and it's very difficult because we want to believe the victims, and I'll always want to believe the victims. But I always will also be the person that says, I want to believe you, but I also want to help you be believed. So help me help you be believed. And I have done that with a number of these high-profile people. I'm nobody. I'm just Tony on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know who I am, all of that. But I have no malintent. I have no agendas behind trying to help people come across as credible. And unfortunately, some people have not picked up on that in terms of wanting to take advantage of that opportunity. I think the only thing that's become clear is there's people that, quote unquote, are helping some of these abuse victims for their own benefit. I don't necessarily think they have the right.
Well, grifters are going to show up at any opportunity, and that would be one of them.
Yeah. Grifter's gonna grift. Well, it reminds me of the Satanic Panic group that was formed in the 90s or whatever, because all of this satanic ritual abuse stuff was starting to be talked about. And to discredit it, the Satanist people that were doing the things created an organization to say they were helping or investigating all of these things to discredit the survivors of it and call it the Satanic Panic and did all this stuff to get it reminds me of QAnon Pizzagate. Same thing.
You look at Dershowitz and the shit he was way back at the beginning trying to discredit all the children that were involved with the Epstein allegations way back.
Right.
That's exactly what his role had been. Now we're learning, and I have no doubt, and I'll say this openly, he's Mossad. Dershowitz is absolutely Mossad.
Oh, absolutely.
And and Kushner and both Kushners, Josh and Jared, have been close and mentored by Alan Dershowitz. So that just ties one more piece of the big puzzle.
What line of work is Josh Kushner in?
But
do you know?
these people,
is he?
He's in the same family business, real estate. He's married to Carly Kloss, of course, who's one of the BFFs with Wendy Dang and Ivanka and Dasha Zakova. Carly, of course, has a questionable relationship in the past with Taylor Swift.
And I'm going to be conspiratorial here. I think that Taylor got swept up by the Illuminati. I'm just going to say it. She has been quieted. She doesn't say a word about anything. She used to be pretty outspoken about current events. I don't know if Travis is her handler, and I am these are all allegations, put on my tinfoil. But I've noticed a marked change in her.
Yeah. The best case scenario there is that, there was violence in Europe when she was on tour there, and she got they actually canceled a concert because of credible terrorist threats. And the best case scenario is that, she's aware that the more she talks, the more the crazies will come out and commit violence,
against her fans and others.
Against her fans, or in the name of being anti-Taylor Swift. But there's a lot of ways you can, and we don't know what she does behind the scenes, but it's pretty cowardice to not speak up under these circumstances.
We're at a crossroads where if you have a platform, your duty is to do the right thing here. And I totally understand being I want to protect my fans, but also you're not, because we're all being fucking...
And we can't ignore the fact that the woman's a billionaire. So we've talked about how it's really hard to become a billionaire without a little bit of nefarious action. I'm not saying she's done anything wrong at all, but... Usually
you make a couple deals with the devil.
Well, and at that point, you are the devil.
Right.
I found something the other day that, it was, who was it? The email from, damn it, it's bothering me. But
and when I say you are the devil, what I mean is that now you're the powerful one.
Yeah.
Now you're the one that can make changes however you see fit.
You can choose if you want to be the devil. You want to be the light, or you want to be the dark. You want to do the right thing?
I'm still holding out hope that she, I don't know, does something profound, or is in some way a tool for the good and not the bad. It's the only time will tell.
So I don't know if it was Ehud Barak or who was it. Somebody had sent an email back in 2014, I think it was, talking about, they were having dinner with J-Lo.
Yes, I just saw that. Who...
And, and again, this is another high-profile person, but, she was involved with Diddy for very long.
She did not. And then when he went down, she never... they never mentioned, nothing. So I wonder if she had a little help in taking him down with that, and she has some sort of... It sounded like it, maybe, because she's been awfully quiet.
Mm-hmm. And, the person that continues to disappoint me is my one and only true love, who's now no longer that, is Ricky Martin.
Oh, Ricky Martin,
Ricky!
Huh? Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. I actually don't follow him anymore, but he had posted some things where he was in Italy schmoozing with Naomi Campbell.
Oh no, that's terribly disappointing.
On Eamon Agalov's Instagram when I was perusing it of him with Eamon, and I'm like, Ricky, you're killing me here.
Yeah.
What a shame.
Living the vida loca.
It's hard when your heroes let you down. That's for sure.
I went to his concert in 1997 in San Jose, California, and we were the only non-14-year-old girls.
But your innards were 14-year-old girls. Did he wear his tight pants? Did he do his...
Yeah.
Oh, Ricky, what a disappointment. Well, again, I'm learning a lot of people aren't who I thought they were too. Not only in my personal life, but in, it's very disappointing. But I'm also, my silver linings are finding like you guys. Like, who would have thought my new hero would be Tony from Twitter? Like, I'm serious. We're fag hags now, and I have Tony, and I am like, that brings me actually a lot of fucking joy.
I really don't know the rules.
So yeah, you can say fag hags, I think.
Okay.
If I endorse it. Yes.
Yeah. You gave me the name. That's why I'm
We
sorry if that was
about
not
the internet. Is the
Don't
internet
go to Missouri, so you guys are gonna have to come see me.
It makes you like dislike people that are in your sphere and just like find your people that were total strangers.
And I have, and you know what though? I don't want to live in a world where the mask is on. That the mask is off now.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for the autistics, but everybody. And I don't think you can be safe in your life until you know who the people around you truly are. And the hard part about it is going to have to be relearning how to live with the real them.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do a whole episode on that, like therapy hour. I don't know.
Well, on that note, everybody find your community and lift each other up.
Yeah, we're at about an hour 6 of beating the horse. It's very dead.
We'll be back with you again soon.
Tony, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else that we need for this week? Andrew got arrested. I'm happy. What else? Anything else?
Stay sane. Don't let it completely... Take breaks. I mean, it's important. I mean, I'm on this, 24/7 pretty much, but I've trained myself to be able to manage my emotions in a way that I don't let myself get too caught up in things. But it's difficult to do, and you all have to still live your normal lives, love your family, love your friends, love your kids, love your pets, love everybody. Love is the most powerful force in the universe.
Absolutely.
And we talked about energy being the new currency here, and it is, and different vibes give different frequencies, okay? And they like us to be at a certain vibe, so don't give them that.
Don't do it.
Don't be afraid to love.
Don't be afraid.
I love you all. I love you guys.
I love you too. Well, make sure they're 18 and up, but that's like, I mean, you know what I mean, because now I have to say that. I don't know. But yes, I love you guys too.
Us normal people don't have to say that because
never been a concern.
Yeah,
never been a concern. Never been a concern. Yeah, I always ID my boyfriends, okay? Okay, guys. Well, you guys have a great afternoon, and I'm sure we'll have something to talk about. I'm sure we're going to war tomorrow or something. So,
and thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We appreciate you.
Like and subscribe. Subscribe.
Yes.
For no money. For no money. For me or you. There we go.
Trying to push that more.
Because we love you.
We love you. We love you. Oh. Let's end on that. Love. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.